Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my biggest financial mistakes. Believe it or not guys, I've had several big financial mistakes and I want to share those with you guys today just to let you know you can have mistakes and recover from those mistakes and go on to have a pretty good financial future. Let's start off with my biggest mistake. When I was playing in the National Football League, I played for the Chicago Bears for 2 years. And coming from the state of Florida, where there are no state income taxes or local income taxes, I was unaware that the state of Illinois had income taxes. Also, the local county that I lived in Chicago had local income taxes. I was totally unaware of it. Now at the time I did have a CPA do my tax return, but the CPA that did my tax return was in the state of Florida. Now I still would say the CPA should have caught that mistake, but he didn't. Nevertheless, it was my responsibility and I take full ownership for it. But I really didn't realize that I had 2 tax liens on my credit report because of not paying income taxes for the state of Illinois and for the local county that I lived in Chicago. The way I found out was I went to buy my first home and obviously they pulled a credit report, and lo and behold, on that credit report I had those 2 tax liens, and it was a shock. But at the end of the day, it belonged to me, so I had to get it taken care of, which I did. But in retrospect, looking back on that time in Chicago, I should have been more fiscally responsible. I learned from that lesson. I corrected that mistake and made sure those taxes were paid, and I had those liens on my credit report removed, and I was able to buy the house. But a lesson that sticks with me to this day: I never mess around when it comes to my income taxes. I always have a certified public accountant do my taxes and prepare my taxes and file my taxes to make sure I'm not on the wrong side of the IRS. Guys, you do not want to be on the wrong side of the IRS. So that was the first huge financial mistake I made in my life. The second one was when I started working in banking. I started investing in my 401k, and the bank that I worked for at the time had a really nice match. So basically I would put in 6%, they would match that up to 3%. So that's what I did. So for a long time, for like 5 or 6 years, I did that. I invested my money into my 401k, the company matched it, and that particular 401k grew to a pretty good amount. By the time 2006 rolled around, it was well into the 6 figures. Problem I ran into, and the financial mistake I made, was 2 years after that, in 2008, there were signs that the economy was getting ready to head into a recession. And I knew that because I had been paying attention. I was working in the banking industry, so I kind of knew that was happening. But I missed the boat on that one. I left that money in that 401k, and I actually had it in all in bank stock, and I left it there. And I did not reallocate those dollars in time before the real downturn happened, which was on the tail end of 2008, 2009. And I gotta tell you guys, that 401k at that particular bank at the time was about 160 grand. By the time I woke up and realized that I had made a huge financial mistake, it was under $100,000. I think it was in the 90s, like $92,000, $95,000. So I had lost over $60,000 because I took my eye off the ball and did not reallocate those dollars like I knew I should have reallocated. But yet instead, I kept it into that bank stock, which was a huge mistake. Now, I did go ahead and leave that 401k the way it was because my thought process was, This is a healthy bank. It's a large bank. So at some point in the future, it will correct itself. I still have the same number of shares, although the per share price was a lot lower. I knew at some point that per share price would go back up. So that's what I did. I just stayed with that stock, kept it where it was, and from 2008 to 2015, the stock didn't move at all, really. And then it took off again. So I will tell you right now, today, I'm still not whole, but I'm very, very close to being whole. But that's my second big, huge financial mistake I've made thus far in my financial life. Now, the third one is around real estate. In 2006, I bought a house, single family home, 3-2, and at the time, it was a great deal. But you got to understand, in 2006, things were still booming in real estate. But 2 years later, in 2008, things went way down. And I purchased a house at that time in 2006 for $215,000. And in 2008, when the economy went into a recession, that house that I paid $215,000 for, that house was worth around $150,000. So at that particular time, I was about $65,000 underwater in that house. Not really underwater, but the value had deteriorated by $65,000. Now, the good news for me on that property was I put my sister in that property. She was the tenant in that property. And the reason I really bought the property was to help her out. Even though I financed it, I purchased it, she lived in it, and really she paid the mortgage and things of that nature. But that would be the third financial mistake I made. Now, how could I have rectified that situation? Well, in 2006, there were signs that the real estate economy and the overall economy was headed for a recession, even as early as 2006. And if I would have paid attention and studied a little bit more, studied the real estate market a little bit more, I would have had an opportunity to foresee that downturn happening a couple years later after I had bought that property. The devil is in the details. That is so true. So if you research and you study, then you'll find out information about what's going to be happening with the market. So in today's environment, if you're thinking about buying real estate, what I would recommend you do is start doing some research and start listening and reading what's going to be, what people are predicting to happen in the economy over the next 3 to 5 years. And it'll save you some time and some dollars by not buying the wrong piece of real estate or investing in the wrong investment. My whole goal here is to share with you guys my wins, and I want to also share with you guys my losses, because I'm a real person investing just like you. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. The good news for me is I'm a quick learner, and when I make one mistake, I typically never make that mistake again. So this mistake with the income taxes, I've never made that mistake again. The mistake with my early 401k, never made that mistake again. And then the mistake that I made in 2006 with the real estate property, haven't made that mistake again either. So guys, you just need to learn from your mistakes. We all make them. We're human, and I'll continue to make them. My goal is not to make the same mistake twice. And I would ask you guys to think about that. Think about some of your biggest failures when it comes to your financial life. And then think about some of your biggest wins. Do your biggest wins outweigh your biggest loss? I hope so. I hope your wins outweigh your losses. Well, all right, guys, I wanted to just give you a quick video just to give you guys, a quick snapshot, look into a part of my life, my financial life, and talk a little bit about some of my losses. Well, all right, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping by and spending a few minutes with me today. I hope the video was helpful. Again, my goal is to just educate you guys and give you information. Not really even educate you, just give you information so that you don't fall in the same pit holes that I fell in. So If it was helpful, please consider giving me a thumbs up. It helps the channel and it also helps me as well. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing and share the video. But as always, guys, keep chasing greatness and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.